So one day, there you are sitting at home reading Heraclitus, when all of a sudden a homicidal translator breaks into your house and takes your non-existent wife hostage. He says, "Riddle me this, book boy, or else the girl dies." What is the most accurate translation that also conveys its deeper implied meaning of Heraclitus's fragment 10? Pousis corruptes tai pile. A. Whoa, wait, 1 second, bro. I don't speak Greek, you say as you pull up a Greek-English dictionary on your computer. Okay, physis means nature, cryptestai is the infinitive of crypto, which means to hide, and phile is the third person present of phileo, which means to love. Oh shit, bro, does that mean physis is the root word of the word physics, and crypto is the root of the word crypto, and phile is kind of like the root of the prefix philo in the word philosophy? Wait, so philosophy means love of sophos, and sophos means wisdom. Wisdom! Philosophy means love of wisdom. Well, yeah, that's not new information. Sweet! Alright then, should be easy. What are my options? The homicidal translator, looking a little flustered, says A. Nature loves to conceal herself. B. Things keep their secrets. C. Becoming is a secret process. Or D. Our origin loves to hide itself. Oh, what the fuck? Talk us through your thought process, pal. Okay, so A is obviously the most literal translation, but the literal translation loses the deeper implied meanings of B and C. The difference between B and C seems to be a matter of interpretation, but then it looks like D takes the original sentence structure and puts back into it the deeper meaning lost by A, but what D loses is what A has, the literal meaning, which is as important as the deeper meanings. Don't you have an option that combines the literal meaning and the deeper meaning? Yeah, it's called the original ancient Greek. Fuck! Okay, you got this. I pick D. No, I pick A. No, D. Shit. Honey, I just want you to know I love... The answer was all of the above. My wife. Wait, what? All of the above? That's stupid. Welcome to the absolute dumpster fire that is ancient Greek translation, with our special guest Heraclitus the Obscure, and myself, a frustrated consumer of translations and not at all a translator. Now, after my frustration waterboarded me into learning the Greek alphabet so I could use a Greek-English dictionary, it became clear to me that there is one unique and central problem that all ancient Greek translators have to deal with. The problem is that compared to English words, ancient Greek words are fucking OP. Like they're actually overpowered, and that's why every language after them has patched this feature out of their language. As literary critic Owen Barfield put it, the best ancient language, when it is compared with the best modern language, so often appears not simply as naive, but on the contrary, as endued with an extraordinary richness and splendor. Here's an example of how overpowered and rich with splendor they can get. The word cosmos has 8 diverse meanings in ancient Greek. In English, 2. In an ancient Greek text, to translate every instance of the word cosmos into the English cosmos would be an act of pyromania. Our word cosmos simply does not carry as many concepts and connotations as the original ancient Greek does. To be a Greek poet and write the word cosmos would house the ghost of 8 meanings. But to be an English poet and write the word cosmos plops on the page a pair of meanings hardened with linguistic rigor mortis. As translator and poet Anne Carson tells us, there's something about Greek that seems to go deeper into words than any modern language, so that when you're reading it, you're down in the roots of where words work, whereas in English, we're at the top of the tree, in the branches, bouncing around. And as you saw in the opening multiple choice translations, there's a lot of bouncing around when it comes to translating ancient Greek. And this is where one of the bounciest and snappiest and overpowered Heraclitus fragments comes into the picture. Fragment 121. Here's a quick dramatic history of my acquaintance with it. I first met Fragment 121 in the form of the succinct translation from Novalis, "Character is fate," which then went on to be used by Freud. The phrase encages a scary idea around which orbits many other satellite ideas like how you act is what happens to you, or reaction is causal, or more loosely, it's not the happy who are grateful, but the grateful who are happy. But a few days ago, I read the Brooks-Haxton translation and came across this 2-line imposter. One's bearing shapes one's fate. Evidently, an attempt at versification was made. Unsatisfied, I went on to read the 19th century John Burnet translation on Wikisource and found this convincing lookalike. Man's character is his fate. I could smell I was getting closer to something. Lastly, I stumbled upon a translation by a little-known 19th century philosopher, G.T.W. Patrick, and was immediately stopped in my tracks when I read this weird mutation. A man's character is his diamond. I said, you better wait one motherfucking second. That shit is wrong, bro. I'm pretty sure the word fate is supposed to be in the place of the word diamond. So I became frustrated, learned my alpha, beta, gammas, read the original Greek sentence, and then choked on my water. Well, wouldn't you know it? Ethos anthropoi daimon. It's uncanny, right? You probably already get the line. Ethos has survived intact into English as ethos and is also the root of ethics. Anthropos has also survived as a prefix as in anthropology, and daimon has also survived intact as daimon and is also the root word of demon. So just what the hell is going on here? Where the hell did the word fate come from? Well, ancient Greek words are fucking overpowered. One of the central meanings of the word daimon, after god/goddess, is guardian spirit, and so by metaphorical extension it came also to mean one's fate. It's like when the American film industry is referred to as Hollywood. Hollywood basically controls the film industry. The daimon basically controls one's fate. In poetry, this is called metonymy, a type of figure of speech in which a thing, say alcohol, is referred to as something adjacent to it, such as the bottle. And just as the bottle holds alcohol, the daimon holds fate. What all the translators have done then, except for Patrick who translated daimon as diamond, is to translate, by metonymy, the Greek daimon into the English fate to lessen the interpretive load on the reader, since our present Western culture does not relate in the slightest the concept of diamonds to the concept of fate. Now this is a very sensible idea on the translator's part, but as we have seen, we lose the delicious concept of ethos equals diamond, and that there exists a diamond at all playing in the background of this idea. It would be like translating the word shower into hygiene, or spicy food into diarrhea, or Game of Thrones season 8 into the greatest disappointment in television history, excluding the unjust cancellation of Firefly. In each transition, we lose the concrete object for the abstract idea. We lose the notion that from showers flow hygiene, from spicy food diarrhea, from this, that, and from diamonds fate. And that's why ethos anthropoi daimon does not equal the English translation character is fate, nor a man's character is his daimon, but rather it equals all of the translations mentioned. James, that sounds kind of dumb. No, it's like this. From the original Greek fragment flows all of these translations, each with their own interpretations. Translations which themselves cannot be reduplicated or reinterpreted from any one of the other translations. But if one were to liquefy all of these translations and mix them back together, in an ideal world they would recreate the original. This is because these translations are secondary to the Greek, but not to each other, just as a child is secondary to his parents, but not to his limbs. And just as a child cannot fight his parents, English words cannot fight in the same weight class as ancient Greek words. But why, you ask? The poet Shelley tells us that in the infancy of society, every author is necessarily a poet because language itself is poetry. Every original language near to its source is itself the chaos of a cyclic poem. Yes, thank you, Shelley, that sounds very nice and poetical, but what about a more concrete answer? Barfield explains, and hold on to your seats because this one's a doozy. One of the first things a student of etymology, even quite an amateur student, discovers for himself is that every modern language, with its thousands of abstract terms and its nuances of meaning and association, is apparently nothing from beginning to end but an unconscionable tissue of dead or petrified metaphors. If we trace the meanings of a great many words about as far back as etymology can take us, we are at once made to realize that an overwhelming proportion, if not all of them, referred in earlier days to one of these two things: a solid, sensible object or some animal, probably human, activity. Well, let's quickly see if this is true by taking our trusty word cosmos, which means 1, the universe, or 2, an ordered whole, and see if at its verbal birthplace it ever referred to either a solid object or some animal/human activity. So, as we reverse the etymological time machine, we're taken back to our ancient Greek octagon of meaning, cosmos with a K, reverse the time machine once more, and we leave Homeric Greece and are taken past the Proto-Hellenic word konsmos and the Proto-Indo-European word kosmos and arrive at its root, kens. It has two meanings: 1, to announce or to proclaim, and 2, to put in order. So we can imagine how that little Proto-Indo-European root kens might have in the past mutated into a noun that meant that which has been put in order, or that which has been announced, possibly the word kosmos, which then gave birth to the Greek kosmos, meaning, as we have seen, both that which has been put in order and order itself, and whatever else took the ancient Greeks' metaphorical fancy. But here's an interesting side question. Does this micro story of the word tell us anything about what the early Proto-Indo-European humans might have thought about their world. Surprisingly, it does. It tells us that those who lived to pass on their genes and language were not overwhelmed by chaos, be it the chaos of nature or the chaos of death. Through the well-attested suffering of life, they still name their world that which has been put in order and not that which has been put in chaos. Presumably, they saw that summer interchanged for winter, day for night, and infant for elder, all like clockwork. Hence, they concluded life was circular and thus ordered. This was not faith, but a logical inference. Then came more gods, then came new words, then words killed gods, and thus, bada bing, bada boom, now we have a completely sanitized version of the word cosmos, washed clean by the blood of the gods and smelling faintly like a hospital. Happy days. Therefore, with everything now laid out, perhaps we can say that before ancient Greek, language was respectfully primitive, and after, language is now respectfully atomized. Well, at least English's, with its 171,146 words in current use and 47,156 obsolete words, according to the Oxford English Dictionary. To look back on ancient Greek is to see an outrageously poetic and overpowered language. Compare its more concentrated power of 60,000 classical Attic Greek words. But one final question remains. Can English match the richness of ancient Greek, not in translation, but in transmutation? Can it match the power of ancient Greek words with the power of English metaphor? What happens if we throw off the academic robes of a translator and wrap ourselves in the cloak and cowl of an alchemist? Take the beginning example again. Pausis corruptestae pile. The four choices given were translated by Patrick, Haxton, Davenport, and me in the robes of a translator. Now, dressed as an alchemist, here's what I've come up with. Mother Nature and Father Origin love to hide in their home of everything. See, what mine lacks in Heraclitean pith, it makes up for in shit, it doesn't make up. But it kind of does make me happy. Well, I guess the original Greek will always be stronger unless some great poet can come along and both translate and transmute it into something strange and new. And so the next time you're reading a translation and come across a line you like, I encourage you to try your hand at playfully translating/transmuting it. You would be surprised just how far a dictionary and a dormant creativity can take you. And also, personal translation isn't so much about the accuracy of the words, nor the accuracy of the vibes, but it is more about what new flora you can bloom from the corpse of a dead flower, i.e. the time-worn words on a page. Let me give you a quick example from Anne Carson's translation of Sappho's fragment 146. Now, the official translation in the book is this: neither for me, honey, nor the honeybee. But in the back of the book, in the notes, Anne Carson has inserted her, you could say her joke translation, and it goes like this: mellow smelling honey, yellow stinging bee, honey, honey? No, not me. Anyway, thanks for watching. This one goes out to all my homies out there who are never satisfied with just one translation and get major FOMO because of it. Yes, me. Well, hopefully I'll see you guys next week. Ciao.